Are you tired of the emotional labyrinth? Have you ever felt like you're navigating a dense fog filled with twists and turns that leave you more confused than before? The reality is, many women find themselves entangled in relationships with immature men, feeling lost and weary in the process. The emotional chaos that can arise from these connections isn't merely a fleeting discomfort. It can become a relentless cycle of frustration and heartache, a cycle that many of us struggle to break. Picture this scenario. You're excited for a weekend getaway, your bags packed with anticipation. However, your partner, as casual as the wind whispering through the trees, casually dismisses the plan at the last minute. Maybe he suddenly has too much work to handle or wants to catch up on his favorite video game, leaving you standing alone in the doorway. This isn't just a simple change of plans. It's a stark reminder of the emotional exhaustion that comes with dating someone who doesn't seem to prioritize the relationship. Or perhaps it's the feeling of always being the one who has to escalate conversations to stir up the stagnant waters of your connection. You find yourself pondering why he isn't as engaged or present. These moments drain your energy, filling your emotional reservoir with uncertainty and doubt. It's as if you're pouring your heart into a bucket full of holes and nothing seems to stick. This is the heart of the emotional puzzle that many women face. The reality is that emotional immaturity can manifest in countless ways, refusing to communicate openly, avoiding accountability, or even just neglecting your emotional needs. If you've ever felt like you're holding on to a tether that might snap at any moment, you're not alone. What's most intriguing, though, is that many times the clarity you seek in these turbulent emotions is hidden in the very behaviors that you've been conditioned to overlook. Much like a river that flows around obstacles, we navigate relationships, often bending ourselves in ways that feel unnatural just to keep the peace. It's essential to ask ourselves, what if the clarity you seek is hidden in the behaviors you've been ignoring? What if the first step toward emotional freedom is recognizing the patterns that keep us tied to situations that drain us? As you reflect on your journey, take a moment to consider what has become painfully evident. The emotional turmoil you're experiencing is not merely a reflection of your choices, but more often than not, a mirror of the other person's behavior. What liberation could lie in acknowledging that and taking the necessary steps to protect your emotional well-being? It's time to pull back the layers of confusion and discover what lies beyond this emotional labyrinth. By shining a light on toxic behaviors, you not only reclaim your voice, but also lay down a path towards healthier connections. Remember, you deserve relationships that uplift and empower you, ones where your feelings are valued and your emotional journey is honored. As we delve deeper into these themes, I invite you to continue reflecting on your relationship experiences. Stay with me on this journey of exploration, and let's discover how to navigate beyond the emotional labyrinth together. If this resonates with you, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on the insights and reflections that can empower you to reclaim your joy. Together, let's find the light at the end of this winding path. What does the blame game reveal? Imagine being in a heartfelt conversation where you're pouring out your feelings, only to have your partner divert the discussion into a blame fest. Suddenly, the focus shifts from your needs to his grievances. You might be sharing your hurt feelings, and he turns it around, painting you as the villain for wanting to talk about it. It's like stepping onto a carefully constructed stage, only to find that the script has changed entirely, leaving you disoriented and powerless. This blame game isn't just a passing irritation. It's a toxic dance that many women find themselves in. You know you're in deep when your partner avoids acknowledging their faults, turning each conversation into a minefield of defensiveness. Instead of addressing your concerns, they shuffle the responsibility onto your shoulders, leaving you to carry the weight of a burden that isn't yours to bear. It's exhausting, isn't it? Consider this scenario. You've built up the courage to express that you feel neglected in your relationship. Instead of acknowledging your feelings, he responds with, "Well, if you hadn't planned that dinner with your friends, I would have made more time for you." It's a classic deflection. What happens is that the emotional landscape shifts from vulnerability to shielding oneself from accountability. That feeling of walking on eggshells becomes overwhelming, perhaps even familiar. As this cycle continues, it becomes clear that the blame game reveals deeper issues not just in the relationship, but within your partner himself. Why is it so challenging for him to own his mistakes? This avoidance can stem from a fear of vulnerability, a fear rooted deeply in a sense of inadequacy that prevents him from being honest. Yet, as he deflects and you absorb that blame like a sponge, your emotional health slowly erodes. What does this mean for you? The more you accept blame for his actions, the more you lose your sense of self. You may find yourself second-guessing your feelings or wrestling with unsettling inner dialogues. Was I really too critical? Is it my fault he doesn't feel comfortable opening up to me? It's like sailing a boat that is slowly taking on water. You struggle to stay afloat while the blame keeps tugging you under. It is vital to recognize the emotional toll this dynamic takes on you. Ask yourself, how often do we accept the blame when it isn't ours to carry? Reflect on those moments when you felt the sting of unjust accusations and the weariness that accompanied them. Recognizing how far the blame game stretches can illuminate paths toward change. What if you reshape the narrative? Instead of internalizing him, why not shift back into your own power? Imagine approaching conversations about feelings with clarity and calmness. Instead of allowing that blame to suffocate you, maintain your space of honesty and assertiveness. What if, instead of engaging in his dance of deflection, you took a step back and asked open-ended questions? Can you help me understand why you feel that way? This kind of inquiry creates a space for dialogue rather than defensiveness. Let's not forget that a relationship should foster equality. Support should flow both ways, nurturing both partners. When your voice is stifled by another's constant blame, it's a sign that you must take a moment to seek clarity within yourself and recognize the power of empathy and understanding. As we continue to explore these themes, consider this. The blame game only serves to mask the deeper issues that exist. By peeling back those layers, you can create an environment where both partners can flourish rather than feel suffocated. True accountability and communication offer a chance to cultivate a bond that values dialogue, nurturing true emotional partnership. Reflecting on this journey, I invite you to recognize when the blame game creeps into your relationships. How powerful it is to reclaim your narrative. If you find these reflections helpful, please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep exploring together, delving into the profound truths that will not only empower you, but also guide you toward liberating connections. Full awareness leads to a breaking of chains, allowing you to foster relationships that thrive on mutual respect and understanding. Why does commitment scare him? It's a question that many women ponder as they navigate the often twisted roads of modern relationships. Have you ever found yourself wondering why the man you care about seems to flinch at the word commitment? It can be perplexing and even heart-wrenching to see someone who appears excited and engaged in the initial stages of dating suddenly fade under the weight of deeper emotional connections. It's almost like dancing in the light, only to have the sun vanish behind dark clouds when the topic turns to commitment. Let's paint a familiar picture. You've been dating for several months. Things started off with fireworks, candlelit dinners, laughter echoing through evening strolls, dreams shared over late-night conversations. But then, just as you're ready to discuss the future, you sense a shift. Your partner's once sparkly eyes now seem clouded with apprehension. Instead of discussing plans for a trip together or the possibility of visiting each other's families, he starts making excuses about needing space or losing himself in hobbies that pull him away from deeper emotional engagement. What causes this natural thrill-seeking to morph into dramatic retreats at the mere suggestion of commitment? At the heart of it, fear often thrives. Fear of vulnerability, fear of being hurt, or fear of the very intimacy that can lead to joy and fulfillment. Many men carry an internal landscape marked by past wounds or societal pressures that tell them they must embody an idealized version of masculinity, one that often disdains emotional connections or labels. When faced with these fears, their usual response can be to run. Commitment is often seen as a responsibility, a weighty anchor, when the reality is it can also be a sturdy foundation, one that nurtures emotional growth and stability. This sensation can feel like standing at the edge of a cliff. It's beautiful and exhilarating, but everything about it screams uncertainty. As you find yourself fluctuating between hope and frustration, it's essential to reflect on the implications of this behavior. How does his fear of commitment impact your emotional health? For many women, when a partner cannot commit, even to simple future plans, it opens the door to feelings of inadequacy. You may begin to question your self-worth, wondering if you're not enough to make him stay, or if you're unlovable in some fundamental way. This mental spiral can be incredibly draining. But let's pause here and flip the narrative. What if investing in quality connections nurtured your spirit rather than leaving you lonely? What if you refused to settle for anything less than the emotional intimacy you deserve? It's a powerful shift in perspective. Rather than chasing after someone whose commitment is shaky, why not focus on cultivating a connection that feels rewarding and supportive? Picture the reward of having someone who not only shares your laughter, but is unwaveringly present when the storms roll in. Realizing that commitment should be mutual gives you the courage to prioritize your emotional needs. It invites an exploration of what you truly want. It reminds you that you are deserving of love that aligns with your values and emotional needs. The beauty of recognizing the deeper layers of commitment is that it opens a door to conscious choices. If you encounter a partner hesitant to lean into commitment, remind yourself that it's okay to seek clarity. Questions like, what does commitment mean to you? Or how do you envision our relationship evolving? Can foster deeper discussions rather than spiraling into uncertainty. In these reflections, it becomes evident that navigating the complexities of romantic dynamics requires awareness and courage on both sides. When commitment becomes daunting, it doesn't mean you should shy away from your own desires or silence your needs. Rather, it can be a signal to cultivate connections that inspire growth, reflection, and emotional nurturance. As we journey deeper into this conversation, let's keep exploring the nuances of commitment together. If this resonates with your experiences, don't hesitate to subscribe. Together, we'll unpack the layers of relationships, embracing the connection and intimacy that elevate our spirits. Remember, you deserve love that reciprocates your efforts, bringing light and joy instead of fear and uncertainty. What would it feel like to embrace those connections, releasing the pressure of commitment while building a foundation rooted in mutual respect and understanding? What about the emotional roller coaster? It can feel as if you're on a ride designed without any safety measures, constantly jolting between highs of elation and gut-wrenching lows. Have you ever found yourself caught in the thrilling whirlwind of ups and downs in a relationship? The initial stages can sweep you off your feet, but soon you realize that the thrill is often paired with unpredictability, leaving you questioning your emotional stability. It's like surfing a wave that seems exhilarating at first, but crashes down unexpectedly, leaving you gasping for breath. Picture this. One day, he's showering you with affection, planning spontaneous outings and sending sweet texts that make your heart flutter. Then, in the blink of an eye, he retracts into a shell, offering little more than cold silence or distant replies to messages. You might find yourself analyzing every conversation, every word, trying to decipher what went wrong. The mood shifts so dramatically, it feels like living on a tightrope where each step could lead to a fall. This roller coaster, while thrilling, reveals a crucial truth. The patterns of emotional instability in a relationship can often stem from significant issues of emotional maturity or commitment fear. These fluctuations can leave you drained as your heart tries to reconcile the contradictions. When one moment feels like a dream come true, only to be followed by overwhelming confusion, it can trigger feelings of anxiety or self-doubt. Ask yourself, how many times have I questioned my own value when the love I receive seems inconsistent? It's essential to recognize that being on this emotional roller coaster is not just about your partner. It's about how their behavior impacts your emotional health. Ask yourself if you're left feeling more elevated or exhausted after those dizzying spins. The key lies in understanding that these emotional swings often reflect your partner's inability to offer stability, not your worth. It's like weathering a storm. The winds may howl, but your lighthouse stands firm. So how do we navigate this emotional whirlpool? Awareness becomes your anchor. Imagine recognizing the cyclical nature of these highs and lows before they engulf you. Instead of spiraling into the abyss of confusion, take this moment as an opportunity to regroup. What if you could step off that ride? Ask yourself, what do I need right now? By cultivating self-awareness, you create a solid footing amidst the dizzying chaos. It's about tuning into your feelings, identifying when you're getting swept away, and determining how to ground yourself. You might find it helpful to establish healthy boundaries, allowing yourself to step back when the emotional waves roll too high. You deserve a relationship that offers consistency, a steady current rather than a chaotic tempest. Consider reframing how you approach your partner during these turbulent moments. When the pendulum of emotion swings wildly, you can cultivate a space for conversation that encourages transparency. Instead of merely reacting to inconsistent behavior, express your feelings clearly. Use I statements. I feel anxious when our conversations drop off unexpectedly, which helps you articulate what you're experiencing without casting blame. Moreover, exploring your partner's triggers can provide insight into their behavior. Often, fear of rejection or abandonment drives emotional roller coasters. Encourage dialogues about emotions, fears, and desires. This nurturing communication may lead both of you toward greater understanding, building a path away from instability. Remember that no relationship is perfect. Bumps in the road are part of the human experience. However, those bumps shouldn't feel like a roller coaster that leaves you breathless. Trust your inner compass and recognize that emotional stability is key to a healthy partnership. Seek balance and clarity rather than merely riding the emotional waves of uncertainty. As we continue through this intricate landscape of relationships, let's keep exploring how we can find steadiness amid the chaos. If this resonates with your feelings, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll navigate these emotional experiences, transforming uncertainty into understanding. You deserve a connection free from the chaos of emotional extremes, a relationship built on trust, reassurance, and mutual care. What would it take to transform this emotional tumult into a more harmonious flow where both partners feel cherished and secure? Let's uncover that together. Have you ever felt the deep sting of unreciprocated affection? Imagine pouring your heart out, sharing your deepest feelings, and instead of being met with warmth, you receive indifference. It's as if you've handed your partner a precious gift, only to have it tossed aside without a second glance. This emotional gap can create a sense of isolation that many women wrestle with, a painful reminder that love should be a two-way street, not a one-sided affair. When you find yourself consistently giving more than you receive, it creates an imbalance that can be draining. Have you ever caught yourself questioning, am I asking for too much? Is my love too intense? This thoughtful self-reflection is valuable, yet it can lead down a path of self-doubt and insecurity if left unchecked. It's important to realize that your emotions deserve acknowledgement and reciprocity. Picture this scenario. You've had a tough week and you reach out hoping for a comforting word. Instead, your partner is preoccupied with their own world, a video game, work, or even scrolling through their phone. This is when you might wonder if your emotional landscape matters to them at all. Each unreturned gesture, a missed text, a delayed response can feel like a drop in an already low reservoir of affection, leading you to question the strength and health of the relationship. What does this emotional imbalance reveal? Often it hints at an issue that runs deeper than simple busyness. It can indicate a lack of awareness, emotional unavailability, or even a profound fear of intimacy. It's like dancing in a room full of mirrors. You may appear well-formed on the surface, yet the reflections showcase distortions and gaps that keep you from truly connecting. This is not to blame your partner entirely, of course. Often, emotional unavailability can stem from their own past experiences, be it fear of rejection, unresolved trauma, or simply not knowing how to nurture a relationship properly. That said, every relationship is a partnership, and each partner must take accountability for their own emotional engagement. So, how do you navigate through this emotional disconnect? Start by embracing the power of open communication. Invite your partner into a discussion that centers on your feelings, shedding light on how their actions, or lack thereof, impact your emotional landscape. Phrasing can be crucial here. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," consider saying, "I feel unheard when I reach out and don't receive a response." Expressing your feelings invites the conversation to be about your connection rather than battling over perceptions. It might be a light bulb moment for them, one that helps your partner recognize their emotional barriers. Additionally, allowing yourself to articulate your needs doesn't make you demanding. It's a fundamental aspect of equality in a nurturing relationship. Rethink what self-love means. It's about valuing your emotional health to the point that you refuse to accept one-sided affection. You do not need to suppress your feelings or stay silent when your love feels unreturned. Engaging in this process may feel uncomfortable at first. Perhaps your partner has never been challenged to consider how their actions affect you. But remember, change often requires a willingness to expose vulnerabilities on both sides. As you bring these topics into the light, it can be liberating for you while also prompting your partner to confront their own emotional habits. As we continue to explore these relationship dynamics, let's ponder this. What does mutual affection look like to you? It's essential to visualize the partnership you desire. Aim to cultivate a bond characterized by give and take, understanding, and emotional resonance. If this conversation resonates with your experiences, subscribing to the channel can help us delve deeper into the mechanics of nurturing connections. Together, we'll unravel the complexities of love and affection, empowered by an understanding that each partner deserves to feel valued and heard. By acknowledging this emotional imbalance, you open doors to authentic connections that fulfill both partners, allowing each to flourish. What if this affirmation of emotions led you toward a partnership that feels balanced, supportive, and rich in shared experience? Let's move toward that vision together. Have you ever felt like you were walking on eggshells in your relationship? The anticipation of a potential conflict, the anxiety of saying the wrong thing, it can be exhausting. Conflict may seem like a looming cloud, threatening to rain on the sunny moments you cherish together. But what if we could flip that narrative? What if conflict didn't have to be something to dread, but an opportunity for growth and deeper understanding? Let's explore this concept further. Imagine a healthy conflict as a storm that passes quickly, refreshing the earth rather than wreaking havoc. It's all about how we approach disagreements and misunderstandings. Often, we view conflict through the prism of fear and frustration. We might think, if I bring this up, it could lead to a huge fight, which can keep us silent and unfulfilled. We may convince ourselves that it's easier just to agree to avoid discomfort. But here's the revelation. Conflict is not inherently negative. It can be a signal that something needs attention. Have you considered how unresolved issues can fester and grow into greater resentments over time? That's the danger of silence, like leaving a small crack in a dam that eventually leads to a flood. When we avoid addressing problems, we deny ourselves the opportunity for resolution and understanding. When you find yourself in a disagreement, here's an opportunity to engage in dialogue that can strengthen your bond rather than weaken it. Ask yourself, how do I want to communicate my feelings? Approach this with an open heart and a willingness to listen. For instance, during a conversation, rather than hurling accusations, you could express, I feel hurt when, which allows your partner to understand your emotional experience without feeling attacked. Consider how nature responds to storms. The clouds build, tensions rise, but then the rain descends. The earth absorbs the water and it nurtures growth. Similarly, when you bring conflicts to the forefront thoughtfully, you create space for resolution and healing. It's an act of vulnerability that invites your partner to join you on this journey rather than placing them on the opposing side. Moreover, it's essential to hear your partner's perspective and observe their feelings during conflicts. Try saying, I want to understand how you feel about this, and really listen. The power of empathetic listening can transform a confrontational stance into a collaborative effort. By establishing a two-way dialogue, you strengthen mutual respect, building a bridge rather than a wall. One great tool to cultivate this nurturing environment is agreeing on how to fight fair. Discuss the parameters of conflict before it arises. For instance, perhaps both partners agree that they won't raise their voices or use hurtful language. Just like nature follows patterns, we can create those positive patterns in our relationships. When you enter conflicts with shared ground rules, it sets a precedent that encourages respect and understanding. It can also be liberating to be honest about your feelings without fear of retribution. Imagine transforming those anxious moments into opportunities for connection. Conflict can be a canvas, and both you and your partner can paint a picture together, a picture showcasing the beauty of resolution, understanding, and shared growth. As we tread further on this journey through relationships, consider this. What would it feel like to embrace conflict rather than avoid it? To see each disagreement as a chance to learn more about each other, deepening your bond rather than tearing it apart. If this resonates with your experiences, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Together, let's explore how to transform your perspective on conflict. Remember, every storm brings the potential for growth. Embracing the challenge of conflict can foster resilience and trust, allowing both partners to feel truly heard. What if, instead of fear, you saw conflict as a stepping stone toward a more authentic and connected relationship? Let's walk that path together, moving toward a relationship characterized by understanding and mutual growth. As we reach the final chapter of our exploration together, let's delve into the profound idea of nurturing emotional intimacy. Imagine emotional intimacy as the cozy light of a fire on a cold night, soft, warm, inviting, and holding the power to draw you closer. It's the essence that allows partners to be completely vulnerable, sharing not just joys, but fears, dreams, and even the uncomfortable truths that often lurk in the shadows of relationships. Creating emotional intimacy involves laying a solid foundation of trust and safety. Have you ever thought about how friendships often start with shared experiences, laughter, and openness? Why should romantic relationships be any different? When we invite our partners into our inner worlds, we nurture bonds that transcend superficiality, creating a connection that feels both powerful and tender. So, how can we cultivate this intimacy within our relationships? One effective way is through quality time spent together. This is not just about being in the same space, but actively engaging with one another. Think of the nights spent sharing stories under twinkling stars, or the quiet mornings of coffee where you exchange thoughts about life and dreams. In these moments, you create shared memories and experiences that deepen your bond. But what about the deeper conversations that often feel vulnerable? How do we navigate those? Consider introducing a practice where you each take turns sharing what makes you feel loved, what scares you, and what you desire for the future. This openness serves as a bridge to understanding each other's emotional landscapes. You might ask your partner, "What's something you've always wanted us to try together?" Or, "What's a dream you have that you've never shared with me?" These questions invite exploration and unveil layers of intimacy. Moreover, embrace the power of storytelling. Share your past experiences, your childhood dreams, or what shaped your views on love and relationships. Just as rivers carve valleys through mountains, sharing your stories can create pathways of understanding and connection. This exchange of narratives not only enhances your familiarity with each other, but also fosters empathy, allowing each partner to see the world through the other's eyes. As you weave deeper into the fabric of emotional intimacy, remember that vulnerability is a key ingredient. The act of sharing your fears, disappointments, and even insecurities can feel daunting, but it nurtures a safe space for both partners to express themselves without judgment. When you reveal your authentic self, you invite your partner to do the same, creating an environment where both of you can shine in all your complexities. And while this journey may seem vulnerable, it also presents an opportunity for growth. Each revelation can act like rain, nourishing the roots of your connection, allowing it to flourish into something even more profound. As you both become unafraid to voice your true selves, you cultivate an atmosphere of acceptance. Just as clouds release rain to nurture the earth below, so does emotional vulnerability foster a richer, deeper bond. Now, let's reflect. What parts of your emotional self remain unshared? Are there treasures of your experience that deserve to see the light of day? What if embracing vulnerability opened doors to a love that felt more profound than anything you have ever experienced? If you feel inspired by this journey of emotional intimacy and wish to explore it further, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. We can continue this exploration together, fostering an environment where love flourishes and friendships deepen, where partners can embrace their authentic selves. The transformation towards deeper emotional intimacy is powerful. Picture a bond where both partners rejoice in their true selves, free from fear or judgment. What would it look like to cultivate that intimacy, creating a haven of safety and understanding that nourishes your relationship? Together, let's embark on this vibrant journey toward a more fulfilling and intimate connection, ultimately enriching your bond and elevating your shared experiences into the realm of true emotional intimacy. Thank you for joining me on this path. It's an honor to explore these themes with you.